Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the Jaywalking to Mindfulness podcast, where every step becomes a mindful journey toward empowerment and well-being. I'm Jay. I'm your host and your guide on this path to self-discovery and mindfulness. The purpose of our podcast is to explore the profound transformative benefits of mindfulness from a neuroscience and spiritual standpoint. Join me, a corporate pro turned mindset coach, and my inspiring guests as we share the benefits of incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives. Together, we'll discover how mindful walking can be a transformative practice, offering clarity, peace, and a deeper connection with ourselves at a soul level. Join me on this enriching adventure as we explore the path of mindfulness, one step at a time. So let's get started on this journey. Come walk with me. Let's go jaywalking. Hello, my beautiful brothers and sisters. I am so excited for this podcast. I've dabbled a little bit in podcasts over the last 4 years, and some of these podcasts that I did, there was always something missing, right? And I really couldn't put my finger on what was missing. And honestly, I think it wasn't the time. I think I was getting a little ahead of myself, and I kind of wanted to find some way of, expressing myself and sharing everything that was coming at me in the beginning with this journey. And man, what a journey it's been. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I really do. And some of you that are listening you followed me on this journey, and you've jumped on the podcast that I've had before, and you've been over there in that section who's cheered me on all along the way. And I'm telling you, I gotta give it up to you guys. You are a loyal bunch. You are supportive, and I love you for it. So let's get into it. So this is Jaywalking to Mindfulness. So the title of this podcast, I've got to give a shout out to my friend Michael. He's a fellow patriot, and he is from Laguna Beach. Actually, I think he lives in Laguna Hills, but close enough, Michael. Forgive me. But he gave me this idea, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so brilliant. Like, I love that. Jaywalking. Like, I would have never put that together. So I want to give a shout out to my friend Michael. Thank you so much for the idea. Thank you for the inspiration for this podcast. Your friendship over the last 4 years has just been so meaningful. And, I followed your journey, and you've followed mine, and I send you all the love in the world. You are an amazing soul. And, we've gone through it. We've gone through this journey. Like, who would have thought? 4 years we're sitting here, and this is the sitch, but it's the situation. And to be able to really be in a state of being grateful, and the state of gratefulness for the lessons that God is teaching us, and teaching us the truth. And for those that can remain open and break away from the conditioning and the indoctrination and all of that, kudos to you guys. Kudos to everyone who stood in their sovereignty and their true authenticity over the last 40 years of this literal psychological war that we've been in. It really truly has been challenging at times. And if you're still here, man, you're a tough cookie, and I want you on my team. It takes one to know one. Just saying. And that's not coming from the ego. I mean, I'm giving myself a little bit of credit. Credit is due. And man, this has not been an easy journey. For those that have truly just said, okay, I'm surrendering to you, God. Give me the knowledge. Show me the way. What is the truth? Because I know I'm being lied to about everything. I'm being lied to about everything. The government, religion, the justice system, Hollywood, you name it, right? I know I'm being lied to. And I'm done. I'm done. So just tell me what the truth is, right? And really just full surrender to the Spirit and wherever the Spirit's taken you. And it's so funny because I woke up the other morning and I thought to myself, if someone would have told me that I would be in the Pacific Northwest and literally living here, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Like I came out for the summers and to visit my brother and my sister-in-law. And let me backtrack. Okay. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So I'll interject this in the talk, but I don't know. I'm just getting so excited, with everything that's going on. And I'm so grateful for the journey and so grateful for just everything, it's like I said, it's not easy work. It's not easy work to sit back and evolve the soul. It is not. But it's the sitch. So let me backtrack a little bit. So who is Jay? Wow. I think some people would think I'm an enigma. I think some people would describe me as an enigma. I haven't been a simple person, right? And really, is anyone simple? Some people, they live a simple life and that's amazing. And I want to get there and I'm working on it because I'm telling you, like, it's less complicated. A simple life is less complicated, but this system will have you believe that, you got to do this, you got to do that. You got to keep up with the Joneses and, all that stuff. But, the Bible says that, people will get caught up in the things of this world. And I got to be honest, I got caught up, folks. So, it all started January 26th, 1971. I was born to a Marine and a Southern California surfer. My mother was a surfer and she was a student at San Diego State University. Anyway, so born to some really cool people. Gosh, I miss them. I've done a lot of healing over the last 4 years. And man, those are two of my most favorite people that I miss in this lifetime. But I am so grateful that I'm still able to, just dial into the Spirit. And I know they're in a better place because I've come to know, and we'll get to that. That's always me getting ahead of myself. So here I was, born in Gary, Indiana, grew up in northwestern Indiana, Hobart, giving a shout out to the Hobart Brickies. My father went to school there. My father grew up there. We grew up there. And once my little brother was born, I think Thomas was probably like 3 when we moved. No, I take that back. I think he may have been like 4 or 5 when we moved to Texas. So we picked my father got laid off. My father was a blue collar worker, and he worked in the mills on Lake Michigan in Gary, Indiana, along there, Hammonds and all of that. And my father was also a firefighter for the Hobart Fire Department. And, you know, that was our life, right? You know, when I remember, I had like these, they're not, you know, they're not like these vivid memories, but I remember like going to the firehouse and being a part of that, and just being a part of that like community, and how cool that was, right? And I feel like that is kind of missing, right? We're coming back to it, but we were taken away from that. And man, yeah, I remember the 76 blizzard, and I missed out on my birthday, and my 5th birthday, and I was so upset about that. But you know, now looking back at it, it is what it is, right? So anyway, we moved down to Texas. My dad got a job outside of Houston. We lived in Zeta, which is outside of Liberty, Texas. And we hung out there for a couple of years until we eventually moved to outside of Toledo, Ohio. We grew up in Perrysburg, Ohio, and I graduated from Perrysburg High School in 1989. And, you know, I was a nerd. I was an ugly duckling, awkward, and I got picked on. But I always had that warrior in me. So I would only take so much. And then, you know, you have to do what you got to do. So I had a couple of altercations as, you know, my confidence grew and all of that. And when I knew I was graduating. I'm not going to go into my relationship in high school. I'm going to save that for another podcast. But I was in a relationship when I was a senior in high school, and there were some learning lessons with that. One of those was domestic violence. And another one was the right to life. So we're going to save that for a different podcast, but I wanted to just kind of like, you know, kind of interject that, because it's a part of my life. And so, yeah, I graduated from high school. So when I was a senior, you know, I sneak out and into the field and, you know, have a little drink of Sun Country what are the Sun Country coolers? I think they were back in the day. And look, and let me tell you something. Let's get this out there so that everybody knows where I stand, what the expectations are. So this is a judgment-free zone. Okay. Anybody that comes on and that's my guest, this is a judgment-free zone. I am not the one to be judging. Okay. I am a sinner and I am not a saint. And I've gone through some things in my life, you know, some of them that, hey, you know, it was my journey. Now that I think maybe 4 years ago, I would say I'm not proud of that. But, you know, I've learned to really heal from a lot of this and understand that there were learning lessons along the way and that I had to learn. And so I'm cool with it. And so I am a sinner, but I'm not a saint. But going into this, the whole thing, this jaywalking in mindfulness is my journey over probably, I mean, come on, the last 20 some odd years. I lost my mother. My mother passed away from breast cancer, complications from breast cancer in 1999, October 11th, 1999. And let me tell you, when that woman died, the world stood still. My world stood still. And I was stuck for a minute, you know, and I had a conversation with God. And man, it was on. Like the spirit, I'm telling you, I don't think I would be able to be standing here today had it not been the Spirit of God. So when people tell me that God doesn't exist, I just can't relate. I can't. I'm not judging. I just can't relate. For some people who've been brainwashed to think that we're just here because we're just here, like just to have a good time, to solo raw loads, or to do whatever, like no purpose whatsoever. I cannot relate. I'm not going to get into an argument. All I can do is testify. There is no way that I would be able to have transcend the amount of grief that I have had in my life had it not been for the Spirit of God. I am telling you, that is the God's honest truth. So I don't relate. And I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm not going to sit here and say I am a biblical scholar. But I know there are some biblical scholars out there that have been indoctrinated. So do they really have a full understanding in the Spirit of God of what God is trying to convey in these teachings? I don't know. But let me tell you, I don't know why I'm still here. I do know why I'm still here. I know that now, but I'm telling you, there's no way. And look, if God didn't exist and it was just all me, I mean, I must be a bad mamma jamma. Okay. I must be a bad mamma jamma to be able to have dealt with the things that I have dealt with in my life. So I'm just going to say this podcast ain't for you. If you are of that nature, I'm telling you right now, so you can just do me a favor, shut it down, peace and love to you, but it ain't for you. Or I'm going to challenge you, do me a favor, go over there and sit down. Okay. Because I'm going to testify in this podcast. And let me tell you, I'm going to have some people on that are going to testify to the power of God in their life. That's what this podcast is all about. Let me tell ya. So, where was I? So, yeah, we moved outside of Toledo, and that's where I grew up. In my younger years, sneaking out, doing football games, have a little sun country. That's where I was at. So, yeah, I mean, I have German ethnicity, Irish ethnicity, and a little bit of English, probably a little bit of Scottish in there, and Swedish in some of there. So kind of, you call it a Heinz 57, whatever, but the majority of it is German. And so, we grew up in a family that was part of the culture. And I know people relate to what I'm saying. And this is, you see where I'm going with this, because you grow up, it's like in your family, your family's a drinkers, you're around it, it's a conditioning, right? So it's like, whatever, let's go ahead, let's, there's a graduation, okay, let's everybody drink. There's a wedding, okay, everybody, let's drink. And I'm not judging. I am not judging. I'm just saying this is part of this culture, right? And then on top of it, America's big for that. You got football. My uncle was a Chicago Bear, played for the Bears. And so, you're born into a family that one of the brothers plays for the Bears. Like, you're a Bears fan. And it's not like anybody twisted my arms. Come on, we weren't always winners, but there was a lot of love in that city for that team. So shout out. I don't follow that anymore because I'm kind of awakened to all of that. And being a veteran, I really wasn't cool with the whole, let's kneel. And I know that that's part of an indoctrination too. So I have a different perspective of it now, but I'm just speaking back then. I was like, oh, no, I'm done. So I was cool early on with cutting the ties. And believe me, it was hard. It was hard to do that because, you grow up in a family that's football, right? And so So there's that. And, you grow up in this family, everybody's, we're all Johnsons, right? And I know there's like this ongoing joke about Johnsons, but like our family, like we're Johnsons. We were, look, my family, what a dynamic. What a dynamic. Like, and I'm talking about my extended family. And I know maybe some of them are listening because I've been advertising this. So they may be listening, and I got mad love for you peeps. Okay. So I'm going to give a shout out to my family. We're going to start with Jim, my Uncle Jim. God bless you. I know he is with me in the spirit. What an amazing man. Oh my gosh, what an amazing man. And look, I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to be absent of fear. Absent of fear on here, absent of emotion. This is raw, okay? This is real. And but man, that was a tough one. I wasn't able to be at his funeral. I was in Italy. I had to go for work. I had an investigator meeting. At that time, I was on a study for lung cancer, and that was where our meeting was. It was a global study, so we all met in Rome, and that's where the investigator meeting was, and my uncle passed, so I wasn't able to be there for the funeral. I actually was flying home. Either the day before, and it was later flight, or it was like the day of. I can't remember which one it was. But so a shout out to all my aunt Sandy, Scotty, Tracy, Kelly, and Carrie. Mad love to you guys. Love you. And just a shout out to Trey. Man, I'm with you. And then let me give a shout out to my Uncle John. He is still alive. God bless you. An amazing man, and had an amazing life. And so I want to give a shout out to, Johnny and Jeff and David and Robin. Mad love for you guys. And my brothers, I want to give a shout out to my brother Thomas, and a shout out to my brother Michael, my best friend Jin, who has been with my brother for, gosh, I think it's like going on 25 years, something like that. Giving them mad love. She's my best friend, moved in on my brother, but whatever, I'm okay with it. You know what? We've all had our times. That's, good times, bad times. We've been through a lot together. I shared with you guys that I lost my mother in 1999 to breast cancer. And let me tell you, that literally took the wind out of my lungs. And I had to dig deep, and I asked God, I can't do this unless you help me, because like I'm feeling this pressure. And I'm not saying this because I want to make anybody feel guilty, but I did. I put this undue pressure on me that I was supposed to step into this role, and it wasn't my role. And I know that now, but that really affected me for a lot of my life. And, if I'm being honest, sometimes probably the ego, gave me an excuse to act out of pocket. Like, oh, well, I did this, and, I'll go ahead and act like this if I want to. But yeah, I mean, tough times. And then we lost Jenny's mom passed away in 2013. She wasn't in the best of health, but man, let me tell you, we weren't expecting that. That was a lot. It was a lot. And then 5 years after Brenda passed, I lost my father. So we've been through a lot. And then Jenny lost her brother 6 months after my father died. So I lost my uncle in May. Yeah, it was May. I lost my father January of 18, my uncle May of 18, and then Ginny lost her brother June of 18. So we were in Toledo twice that year in 18. So lots of loss that we have gone through together. And I'm thankful for that because I didn't have to go at it alone. And, I don't know, losing a parent, man, that's tough. And you kind of lose your minds in all of it, and you lose your identity. And, sometimes you only cope the way you know how, right? Like, or whatever works, or you turn to this, or you turn to that. And at that time, I guess I wasn't ready to full on surrender to God. I hadn't had enough suffering. And see, that's the thing. Human beings, we're so programmed from this system to just love suffering. Like when we think we know it all, that's suffering. It's of the enemy. Like, how could you possibly know everything? How could you possibly know it all? You're in your ego. Mother grew up as a Catholic. My father, he was baptized in Methodist. My mom ended up converting into Methodist. We got baptized as Methodist, but we never were this family that went every Sunday. So we weren't into this indoctrination. And if that offends you because I'm saying indoctrination, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Because this system that we live in programs us, and it's used to divide us, just like politics. I'm sure I'm going to piss some people off with that one. Politics, just like, race, gender. Okay. And it's maddening. Okay. And so this also creates this suffering, right? So we only have this not only have this internal suffering, we have this external suffering. So it's like, to me, I mean, my imagination of what hell is this nonsense that we're living. It's just we're wherever we're at, it's hot as hell. I mean, I've lived in Florida and I've lived in Idaho, and I mean, in the summertime, it's hot in here. And come on, so I think I might know a little something about that, like living hell and just being a miserable person because, this alcohol thing took off, we'll just say. So if you're gonna come at me and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to hell because the way I'm not following the way it should be done," or what, that's your opinion. And let me just remind you, the teachings of Jesus Christ taught us love, patience, kindness, understanding. Okay. At no time does it say I'm going to go out and just beat people to death with the gospel so that they don't understand the gospel and that they don't understand what the interpretation is of the gospel. And you got a million interpretations because that's what the enemy wants. It wants to confuse you of what this is all about, right? Let's confuse the people, right? And then let's proliferate the ego so that everyone that is a follower says that they're a follower of Christ and they go to church and all of this, that we can sit here and we can pass judgment and be concerned about other people's salvation. Be concerned with yourself. Let me say that again. Be concerned with yourself, because some of you are getting caught up in the things of this world and are out here projecting you're going to go to hell, but you're not doing, your house isn't clean. Let me say that again. Your house isn't clean. Don't talk about my lawn, Karen. Worry about your own lawn. Worry about your own salvation. And see, so the enemy has proliferated this ego, thinking you know it all, right? Oh, you are all knowing and you are all powerful, just like God. No, you're not. Sit down. You're judging. You're for word. And then you pray on it. And then you go to God in your prayer and you say, God, you talk to him. And you say, God, what are you trying to tell me here? What are you trying to tell me? What is the message that you want me to hear? What is the truth? I know that you tell me that Jesus is the way. He is the way. But what's the truth here? Because you have people that like got the scripture and they're going to use it to just be, the warfare, that when sometimes you go to somebody with the scripture and you're trying to tell them, you're trying to point out then you're being accused that, oh, you're using it as warfare. No. I'm saying, hey, look at this. This is what it's saying. What do you think? Like, there needs to be a dialogue. We just like throw this stuff out here as if we're supposed to understand how to interpret it. But let's be honest with each other. Have you said, you know what, God, I'm tired of the shit. Okay. I remember, I was so pissed off. I was so mad. I was like, I'm tired of the shit. I am tired of this. Like, this is a lie. That's a lie. I'm learning all this stuff. Here I am, a veteran, and then I start, jumping down all these rabbit holes, and I'm like, what? What is the truth here? Tell me what the truth is. Well, that's when it's like when you're full surrender to God, and you're like, you know what? Let me go with the Spirit, and then you train yourself to be in this mindfulness mindset that I'm in the present, I'm in the present, I'm in the present, I'm in the present. We're all on different paths, and it's really hard. It's a really difficult time right now, and I really I want to just give a shout out to people, man. It's a hard time right now because we have people that are in different levels of consciousness, and that exists, folks. When you step out of yourself and it's not you, me, myself, and I, and you're walking with the Spirit of God, you see the world differently. You're open to hearing about what's going on over in Australia or what's going on in Germany. And you start to think about, my God, this isn't just happening here. It's happening everywhere, right? But let me tell you, do not have any fear, my brothers and sisters, because the world is awakening to their greatness. And the fact is that there is no separation between God and us. None. You are of God. You can dial into him anytime. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you've done. The ego will tell you, oh, God's not going to forgive you because you're a drunk. No, lies. Because look, the ego is a well elaborated lie, folks. And let me tell you, the enemy is the ego. It's all energetic, right? Because you have to think about that. We're energetic beings. We are charged. We're walking around charged. At any time, something could make our heart stop. So that just proves right there that we are of energy, and we're walking around and we're charged. And some of us are walking around and we're not at full charge. We're half battery, or we're almost empty, because we're not dialed into the Spirit. We're not dialed into the earth. And I'm not before y'all label me as a tree hugger, look, there's something about being out in the wilderness. You feel close to God. And so if that makes me a tree hugger, so be it. I'll wear that title proudly. How you doing? But anyway, so I don't want to get too long-winded. I know this is probably going to be a series of like 3 podcasts, because I really want you to have an idea of my journey and where I've come from. Because number one, I think that's important. It's important because I want to build trust with my audience. I want you to understand I'm open. And when I'm saying I'm real, I'm real. I am opening myself up. And with that, and I know there's going to be haters out there that are going to hate, and I don't really care. I'm just letting y'all know up front. If you're indoctrinated into religion and you're all on that judgy vibration, and this is not the podcast for you. I don't want to hear it. I've been hearing it for the last 4 years while I'm on my journey trying to figure out and asking the Spirit of God. But you're going to tell me that I'm wrong when I'm listening to the Spirit of God. And if you think I'm nuts, then maybe you don't really believe in God, and you're just regurgitating what you hear. I'm not the one. Take it somewhere else. It is not your duty to provide anyone with salvation. It is our duty to save ourselves and share our testimony with our brothers and sisters so that they are inspired to save their self. Can I get an amen? Y'all, I'm telling you, I'm going in. I'm going in. I have had an amazing life. I look back and I think to myself, everything has been a test. Everything. And the people that I've met and even the people that have challenged me, even the people that have hurt me, I send them love. I truly, truly do. I mean that. I send them love. I hope they awaken to their greatness and do amazing things. I really, truly mean that. And, and maybe some people that are listening are hurt because, look, I'm not an angel. I send you love. I didn't know who I was, and that's not an excuse. I give the most sincere, deepest apology from a divine level that I hurt you. But in that hurt and feeling that guilt, because when you do hurt, when you are this person, this spiritual person, I've never felt a part of this world, to be honest. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to survive. We are. So I'm going to say that again. I want you to listen, my brothers and sisters, to what I'm saying. Forgive yourself. This system is meant to beat you down. They have done everything to come for you. And if you are still standing, you got plenty of time to turn this around. You know what I'm saying? You got plenty of time to turn it around. I am a living testimony to that. They have done everything to come for you. And if you are still standing, you got plenty of time to turn this around. You know what I'm saying? You got plenty of time to turn it around. I am a living testimony to that. There's always time. This system will always make you feel like there's not enough time. I can't make amends, whatever. And look, let's be honest. Sometimes you'll go to make an amends and it ain't jiving. They ain't trying to hear it. And that's fine. You can give your amends to God and hope that God moves them, and that if it's meant for you to come back together, it will happen. Forgiveness is a tough thing for human beings, because it's this, like I said, I'm going to talk about the system. When I say the system, folks, I'm meaning this matrix we live in, this illusionary world. And if you're not understanding what I'm saying, go watch The Matrix, because we're living it. Hollywood is a predictive programming machine. Come on now. That's what they get paid for. This is a psychological war. We've been living a psychological war. So when I say everyone is just surviving, that's exactly what they're doing. We have been in survival mode. And some of us need to just chill and just let go and let God and rest. Let me tell you something. Over the last 4 years, I have rested, my brothers and sisters. And sometimes I feel like I would struggle with the feelings of guilt, like, why am I not doing anything? And it's like, no. God's like, no, I want you to rest. Because this war is won in stages. Because that's the way war works, right? We have stages. Not everybody's out there fighting. We got to have people that are going to hold back a little bit and are going to be back here preparing for whatever they need to prepare for the next level of whatever it may be. I thought, like, I started to wake up politically. I mean, I was anesthetized, folks. I mean, I was drinking big time into the alcohol abuse. We'll get into that in the next segment, but I'm gonna wrap this segment up, and we're gonna go to the next segment. So hold tight, brothers and sisters. The next segment, we'll get into life after graduation from Perrysburg High School. I know I kind of been all over the place because that's my life. And if you're keeping up, man, mad props to you. I love you. You're my people. So hold on. And let me just let y'all know this, okay? This podcast is, jaywalking to mindfulness. It's about mindfulness. And so I am now a published author. Yeah, I wrote a mindfulness journal. And I'm working on it. This podcast is not live, so this is going to be the first one. I recorded this a couple days before the premiere. So I'm working on some changes for that journal. I'll let you know when the changes are up. But yes, I have a 30-day mindfulness journal. It's part of this whole journey, right? It's part of it. Mimics what I experienced. And here's the thing: people can go out here and they can talk about, oh, well, this method and that method. If you haven't lived it, man, all you can just do is speculate. I've lived this. Everything. Say I had a revelation. I came across a declassified CIA document that was declassified about the gateway process. I told you that they've studied us. These evil people who I believe are not of God, and we are fighting against principalities. It reveals everything. It reveals everything about meditation, that we are spiritual beings. When I say every Christian needs to read this document, because then you'll understand that look, God created everything. And the enemy has taken it and twisted it and made it black, dark, black energy, black magic. Okay. But there is also this part that's light, where God has given people certain gifts to be able to go and talk to people about this, and that's the goal. I would like to go and really just share my journey. That's how it works. It's what's called patience. So anyway, so stand by, folks, for the next podcast. I am on Instagram, Soul Coaching with Jay, TikTok, Soul Coaching with Jay. Obviously, YouTube is my podcast. Spotify will be up on the 16th. I am on LinkedIn as well. And in all of my social media, there is a link tree for now. I'm going to be changing that to Stand Store because I'm going to be implementing some digital products. But you can go to that link tree and it'll take you to, I have all kinds of stuff in there. There's, books that I highly recommend, like Emotional Intelligence is so key with changing of the mindset. This is all neuroscience based, folks. Like the whole thing with you can do this. Like you can change your mindset. You can change your life. So tune in. I don't want to get long-winded, but man, maybe it's excitement. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys and to really just be bringing the wisdom that I've learned. I don't claim to be an expert. And, it misspoke. I didn't give my Aunt Laurel a shout out. And I want to give my Aunt Laurel a shout out. My Aunt Laurel is married to my Uncle John, who played for the Chicago Bears. So I want to give her a shout out. And just a dynamic family. And, they've been a part of they've been a part of my life to some shape or form, and we've all
had losses within the family, and we've, just encouraged each other through the years. So mad love for you, Johnsons. I love you all so much, and I send you love, and I probably could pick up the phone more so than I do. So I'm going to commit to that because I think I'm coming out of this fog of just really focusing on healing, and now the spirit is saying connection. Connection is a big thing that's coming from my prayer is connection. So building the connections in 2024. And so with that, folks, thank you so much for listening. You guys are awesome. We'll talk to you later, and stay tuned for the next podcast.